welcome you back inside the Murray Center. The anthem has been played. Starters about to be announced. We'll take a look at the Milton Mustangs starting lineup for you today. It'll be Thomas Burkhardt, the senior out of Bridgewater, Massachusetts. He'll be joined by Cameron Shockley, the junior out of Norwalk, Connecticut. Corman Ryan, who you mentioned, will be attending Stanford. He's a senior out of Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Rhett Carter, the junior out of Sudbury, Mass. And Daniel Schleckman, the junior out of Sharon, Massachusetts. Of course, they all play for head coach Lamar Reddix.
And Lamar Reddix is a fantastic coach in his own right. You know, the interesting thing about this matchup, both former Division I assistants. Lamar Reddix was at Harvard, Boston University, as good of a defensive coach as you'll find anywhere in prep school or high school basketball.
And being announced right now, the Choate Wild Boars come in as the number 5 seed after knocking off Suffield Academy in a nail-biter 51-50 before taking out Tabor yesterday, the 8 seed 62-52. Starters for Choate today will be Jayden Nixon, a senior guard out of Charlottesville, Virginia. He'll be joined by Brad Landry, the senior out of Wallingford, Connecticut. Jalen Sandifer, the guard out of Warner Robins, Georgia. Jake Sullivan, the guard out of Brantford, Connecticut. And rounding out the starting 5 will be Caden Dumas, who will actually be playing football at Princeton next year. He rounds out the starting 5 for head coach Drew Dawson.
Well, and Dumas is really a player to watch for Choate. He may be headed to college to play football, but he is a scholarship caliber basketball player as well. Inside out forward who's really efficient.
Milton will be in the navy blue uniforms today with the orange numerals. Choate in the white with blue numerals for this championship game. Again, the 3 seed Milton Mustangs versus the 5 seed Choate Wild Boars. Milton coming into this one 22-5 overall on the season. Choate at 22-8.
And there you get a look at Cormac Ryan, the Stanford signee, and it's going to be the guy to watch tonight.
A lot of excitement for what is to be a triple header here this afternoon from the Murray Center in Providence. The Class A championship game starting things off, followed by the Class AA and finally the Class AAA game later today. We'll have all the action for you all day long right here on YurView. So 16 minutes on the clock. These two squads ready to tip off here at the Murray Center on the campus of Rhode Island College.
One of the interesting things to watch in a game like this is the energy level and nerves of both teams. Both of these guys, while they've had tremendous seasons, it's the first time they've been in a championship game, these respective players. First time for Milton and Choate in quite some time. So being able to simulate the energy and intensity of an atmosphere like this is not something you can do in a practice setting, and it often goes a long way towards determining who's going to be able to come away with the championship.
And do you foresee any kind of fatigue factor, considering they just played those semifinal games less than 24 hours ago?
You know, I think that's possible, and I think it's going to emphasize the importance of momentum that much more. Teams want to play with confidence, but you may see those coaches monitoring minutes and monitoring fatigue especially closely.
So Milton, after winning the opening tip, hits the 3 ball. That was Cameron Shockley, the junior from Norwalk, Connecticut.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last time Cameron Shockley was in this gym was at the National Prep School Invitational. They defeated a New Hampton team that we're going to see later today in the AAA final, and Cameron Shockley was tremendous in that game, so he likes this court.
Quick answer, though, from Jayden Nixon, the senior out of Charlottesville, Virginia, to keep his team within 1 early on.
Jayden Nixon is an elite level athlete, a Division I prospect who hasn't committed just yet, but can't allow him those straight line drives.
Another quick 3, that one canned by Cormac Ryan, who we've talked about already quite a bit. He delivers right away.
Well, that's the type of quick release that is going to make him a shot maker at the next level. I saw Milton play on Wednesday against Phillips Exeter, the defending Class A champions, and he made 6 or 7 of those tough threes.
Choate goes inside this time for a little reverse layup from Jalen Sandifer.
The Ivy football connection continues. Another football product. Choate has had a dynamic football program last few years, has a number of NEPSAC championships.
Wow, almost NBA range that time from Ryan. Won't go. Rebound to Nixon. Here come the Wild Boars. Pull-up jumper, Nixon is good.
Good answer there by Nixon. I didn't love the shot from Ryan. It's not that he can't make it, but in a setting like this, especially early on, you want to let everybody touch that ball, get everybody in a rhythm. You make tough shots at the end of the shot clock if need be.
We'll see how Milton responds. They'll launch another three-pointer. That one too strong from the hands of Shockley. Another rebound for the Wild Boars. Here they come. Sullivan. He'll back it out. They'll work it around the perimeter. Now Landry trying to find a seam. Dishes back for Dumas.
When you're going to see Choate be very unselfish, a little bit more deliberate with their possessions. They really share the basketball, try and reverse it a couple of times.
Fadeaway won't fall for Sullivan. Here comes Milton.
Good transition defense that time by Milton.
Walking the tightrope. Nice steal for Sandifer. He gets it back, takes it to the rim, and it just won't fall. Second opportunity won't go either. Third one is blocked. And coming away with it is Sullivan.
A lot of contact in there.
3-ball on the way. Only left short from Nixon, but yet another offensive rebound for the Wild Boars.
So this is part of that nerves that I talked about. You see both teams now taking ill-advised shots, forgetting some blockouts, plays that they would normally make. Right now, just the energy of the moment getting the better of them.
Nixon taking it to the rim, and another reverse layup for the Wild Boars.
Great drive there by Nixon, using the rim as a shield, getting the other side, and then finishing with his offhand.
So far, Milton primarily has settled for three-pointers. They made the first two, but have been cold since. They work it inside this time for Schleckman, and we have our first foul of the game.
That's going to be something to watch as well, because depth is going to be in Milton's favor here today. So if this becomes a closely officiated game and both teams have to go to their second unit, that's going to favor Milton.
So the first foul gets charged to Jake Sullivan. Milton gets a reset on the 30-second clock. Another 3-ball on the way from Ryan, and that one is good. Milton storming back to take the lead back.
And see, that was a better look because he was able to step into his shot. Nice pass there from Dan Schleckman, the junior.
They go to work this time. Dumas leaving it on the outside for Landry. Inside it goes, and getting his man up in the air was Sandifer. He'll head to the line shooting two.
Well, you said it just right. That just very subtle up fake there, showed the ball, but also the lift fake with his eyes was enough to get Rhett Carter up in the air and gonna give him a chance to get to the free throw line.
Drew Dawson taking the opportunity to go over things with a couple of his men. As Sandifer makes good on the first of two. Tie game here now in Providence. Jaylen Sandifer, senior out of Warner Robins, Georgia.
Headed to Yale to play football.
Certainly has that look of a football player. Strong, tough young man. Misses on the second, though. Rebound to the hands of Thomas Burkhardt, one of the captains of this Milton squad. Another quick three from Dumas, no good. Excuse me, that was Ryan. And they're going to say last touch by the Wild Boars. It'll be Milton ball. A couple of subs checking in now for Milton. Alec Beesmer and James Quinlivan. And for Choate, checking in for the first time today, Hunter Jamison, junior out of Durham, Connecticut.
Got Shockley in the corner.
They try to force it inside, and bodies flying everywhere. Good hustle, and they're going to get Milton for a travel, as they're going to say that Quinlivan slid over and rolled as he had possession.
Yeah, you can't roll over with the basketball. It's a good hustle by both teams, both quick to the floor. Quinlivan just had to roll over to try and rip away possession of that ball. Good hustle play, but unfortunately for him, that is a travel.
So Jayden Nixon checking back into the Choate lineup as they send Jamison over to inbound the ball. Easily gets it in. Here's Landry now. Quick to the wing for Nixon. All the way around. Three-pointer on the way. Nothing but net for Jayden Dumas.
But notice the ball movement there. Choate doesn't have the same big names, but they break the pressure. They change ends of the floor, and then they get rhythm shots.
Choate not looking intimidating by any means so far in the early going. Oh, wide open look on the inside. A nice pass for Alec Beesmer.
Nice job there executing their offense, but Choate right back at you. Milton fell asleep, defensive transition. Lamar Reddix wants to talk about it.
Almost a carbon copy there as Sandifer converts. Time for us to step aside for just a moment. We'll be back with more of the NEPSAC Class A championship game for you right here on YurView.
Maddie always she gave it her hardest, and what she wanted everyone else to do was to give it their hardest.
She always put everyone before herself in every situation.
Her personality, it's just she was born to be a leader.
She lit up every single room when she walked in it, and she just had so much love for everyone in her life.
I think she'd want us to live in the day, and she'd want us to take it one day at a time.
And welcome back to the Murray Center here in Providence. 11:18 remaining in the first half of the Class A championship game. Choate out to a 3-point advantage, and Milton calling timeout as he's giving up too many easy baskets on the inside.
Well, any Lamar Reddix coach team is going to have very little tolerance for defensive breakdowns. I mean, he coaches his team like he would a college program, especially on the defensive end of the floor.
3-pointers raining down here in Providence. This time it's Thomas Burkhardt from long range to tie things up at 14.
You know, it's interesting, though. I think that if Milton is content to make this a shootout, that would actually potentially play into Choate's favor. It's not that Milton can't beat him that way, but where I don't think Milton, where Choate can match up with Milton is inside the paint.
End-to-end action as that one is deflected out of bounds by Brad Landry. It'll remain Milton ball.
And the other thing to remember is this is a full college court, so it's a little bit longer than most high school courts. I know that Choate plays on a college-sized court, so they're going to have less of an adjustment.
Another substitution made now as checking in is Jake Sullivan. Milton able to get it in. Beesmer will leave it outside now for Shockley, and around it comes for Burkhardt. Shockley for three, and that one drops in once again. 3-point shootout here in Providence. Milton retakes the lead, 17-14.
Well, he does love this court. Cam Shockley.
Choate goes right back onto the inside. Sandifer somehow able to beat 4 Milton players to the rim.
Well, pretty offense and 2 great passes. Began with the backdoor pass with the left hand, no less, and then the extra pass inside the lane. So pretty stuff from Choate.
Ryan looking inside, has his man Beesmer, gets it back, 3-pointer on the way, and as he was falling down, still gets it to go.
It's a big-time shot, but again, Milton doesn't get back in defensive transition. Lamar Reddix not going to be happy with that, because thing is this, if Milton is shooting the ball this well, and yet still they're going back and forth, that's actually in Choate's favor. I think one of the things Milton has to do is get set in defensive transition and then make sure they're getting quality looks offensively.
Take another look here.
That's a pretty backdoor pass with the left hand. Watch that. Beautifully done.
Sandifer, though, missing on the first of his 2 attempts here. Trying to cut into what is now a 4-point deficit. Second one coming up for the senior guard. And that one is pure. Well, 3-point game once again.
Been a fun one. You know, sometimes you wonder if nerves are going to lead guys to not make shots. That has not been the case for either team.
Yeah, very good pace early on in the opening 6.5 minutes. Well, that one takes a deflection off of Choate's Caden DeMoss.
Don't discount, though, the amount of energy both teams are using right now, not just to play at this pace, but also the excitement. So that's going to add to the potential fatigue factor late in the game.
Quickly down the other end, and a charge is going to be called against Brad Landry. He thought that he didn't really have a spot to land in that time, but the referee thinking otherwise. That's the first personal on Landry.
Well, it's good defense. When you have a baseline drive, you want to get cut off that angle, not give him anywhere to go. If you're going to try and make that baseline drive, look out.
Boom! Jayden Nixon throwing it down after Shockley turned it over. Brings us to a break in the action. We're going to step aside as well with Milton leading this one 2019. You're watching the NEPSAC Class A championship game right here on YurView.
In the blink of an eye, cities fall, heroes rise. A heartbeat skips as a man slips gravity's grip, and heartbreak leaps from the brink in a blink. Just think of all the games, teams, hopes, and dreams that live and die because greatness lies in the blink of an eye. This is the sports app on Contour from Cox. Cable TV reimagined to get you right to the good stuff.
And back to action here. This is a look at that last dunk. Jayden Nixon throwing it down and turned it over.
Creating offense from their defense, really getting out, trying to take the ball out of Cormac Ryan's hands.
Quick ball movement leads to another three-pointer for Cameron Shockley.
And again, Milton continues to shoot it at an incredible rate here.
Both teams shooting the ball very well early on. They go to Sandifer. Now the kick out. Hunter Jamison looking for Sandifer again. Here comes a double team. And they're going to get a foul.
They got
with
the
hook
yep.
on Jalen Sandifer. Incredulous look on his face, but his first personal of the day.
It's become a very popular call when you look to put at all levels, you look to put the ball on the floor from the post. You have to be so conscious of the positioning of that off arm. Again, Choate in this 1-2-2 look.
Ryan, the long pass underneath for Shockley. Couldn't complete the alley-oop. Kind of got caught underneath the hoop a little too much that time.
Yeah, I thought he could have come down with that one and then go right back up into it, but.
Choate down by 4. It's been a tight one so far, and this time I think coming around from behind, they're going to get Cormac Ryan for the foul. And that is his first personal as he was battling with Sandifer. That's been a key matchup so far early on.
And Choate really trying to get Sandifer catches on the block. You see the soft touch of Caden Dumas there. I'll tell you what, the biggest surprise to me so far is that Choate is the team that is really controlling the paint.
Yeah, they have been the aggressor so far early on. Milton settling for a lot of three-point shots.
And they're making them.
Yep.
But, you know, with that junior front line that Milton has, and you see him coming back in the game here, Rhett Carter and Daniel Schleckman. It's with all the size that Milton has to offer, it's just a surprise that Choate has been as effective as they have been inside here in the first 8 minutes of this game.
Definitely seems Choate with the extra pep in their step early on. Can they sustain that energy, though, throughout the entire game? And do they have the bodies to match up down the stretch? We'll find out over the course of the next 90 minutes or so. Long three ball that time, though. Drained by Brad Landry, and Choate retakes the lead.
Well, and that is what you've come to expect from Choate basketball. The ball movement, the three-point shooting, great spacing on the offensive end.
Here's some good ball movement from Milton. Leads to a three-point attempt from DJ Morrell that won't drop. Wild Boars come down with the rebound.
But to your point, though, Mike, that was another, very well-organized set against the pressure, going inside out and getting a wide-open look in rhythm.
Choate now trying to build on their one-point lead. Landry, wheeling and dealing, gets it into Sandifer, who lost the handle as he was battling with Rhett Carter, the junior out of Sudbury, Massachusetts. And they're going to say last touch by Milton.
Well, this is a big Milton lineup. When you bring Carter and Schleckman back in there, and then you have Ryan on the perimeter, you've got a ton of size at all 5 positions on the floor.
Good defense there out of the Mustangs as they forced a shot clock violation. Looked to be a little bit of a lack of situational awareness that time for Choate. I don't think they really realized until it was too late that they only had a couple seconds left on the shot clock.
No, I think you're right, and I think the increased size of Milton on the defensive end has paid off in the last couple of trips.
Here's Ryan. Runs right into a double team, and then they're going to say steps on the sideline. So the big court not helping him out this time.
No, it's not. He's gotten pushed to the sideline a little too easily so far. You have to give Choate's defense credit for that. ideally, a defense wants to push ball handlers to the outside third of the floor, and if you can get them closer to the sidelines, all the better. But that's the second time Ryan has gotten too close there and turned it over as a result.
Hard dribble down the lane that time for Nixon. Was going to get called for the travel as he kind of got hung up on his elbow as making that move through the lane.
Well, you know, same thing now. Both teams got off to a great start offensively. Last couple of minutes, things have clamped down a little bit. All of a sudden, you have teams forcing it a little bit. The next 6 minutes are going to be determined in large part by which team can get back to their normal offensive rhythm.
They break it across the timeline. Now here's Burkhardt. Leaving it over for Schleckman. And Ryan, another deep three.
Wow.
That one, such a smooth stroke from the outside.
Well, it's a quick, smooth stroke, too. So you have to be there, not only be there on the catch, but be there on the catch with a hand up.
Back the other way comes Choate. Stolen away by Shockley.
Good move.
A little behind the back dribble. Gets it to Ryan, slicing, dicing, finishing, and one.
Cameron Shockley with a big-time play. First he whips it behind the back, then he splits two defenders with the Euro step before finding Ryan for the easiest two he's going to have tonight, but a big-time play by Cam Shockley.
Ryan already up to 12 points now. On the actually make it 14 after that made basket. A chance for the old-fashioned three with under 6 to play. And he cans it, so 15 now for Cormac Ryan to lead all scorers, and Milton out to its largest lead of the day. Does Choate have the answer? They work it over to Jamison, now leaving it for Dumas. A little bit of a push off with some contact. Tough jumper, won't fall for Landry.
Not the look you wanted in that situation.
Ryan going right down the middle of the floor. Now flips it over for Shockley, and they'll reset through Burkhardt.
So I said earlier, I'm not sure Milton wants to get into a three-point shooting contest, not because they can't win it, but because that's a game that Choate can be effective in as well. For Choate, they don't want to get into a one-on-one contest, not when you're facing off against guys like Ryan and all the firepower that Milton has on their team.
Long three does not drop that time for Ryan.
Little bit of a heat check, but I think if you're Cormac Ryan, you've got to take responsibility for getting your team better shots. He can get that look anytime he wants it.
Sandifer blocked that time by the big man, Rhett Carter. Free ball from the corner, no good. Second chance will not drop. Shockley, though, a third chance.
Great move.
And tied up underneath the basket was Rhett Carter. Possession arrow favoring Choate.
Well, a big-time move from Rhett Carter, but an even grittier defensive play there from Choate. Not biting on that second fake and being able to tie the ball up.
Choate now, they'll walk it up the floor. Jake Sullivan, met quickly by Ryan. Trying to use the high screen that time from Dumas.
Milton switching all their screens here.
Nice ball movement, led to an open jumper that time for Jayden Dumas. Brings us to a break in the action, but we're actually going to keep it here this time. And early going seemed to be a three-point contest for sure, but since then, both teams kind of settling down. Now we're seeing Milton trying to take a little bit more advantage of their size on the inside.
Yeah, I think that's really been the key. When Milton went to the bench with their front line, Choate was able to take advantage. And this is a Choate team that although on paper they're not quite as individually talented as Milton, as I said in the beginning, they're better than the sum of their individual parts, and they're not going to be intimidated. They move the ball extremely well. They compete on both ends, and they can make shots as well. So the difference to me is you get a look at former UConn head coach Jim Calhoun, who's going to be the take over the program at University of St. Joseph's in West Hartford, Connecticut next year. Brad Landry from Choate, very well be headed to play for Coach Calhoun.
And you'll see that throughout the afternoon here. A lot of big names from college basketball, should they be able to make it. We'll be filtering in and out coaches, assistant coaches, and scouts as well. Plenty will be on hand throughout the day to check out some of their recruits and some of the future stars of college basketball.
It's a great evaluation setting because one of the things that's hard to evaluate is how guys will respond to the bright lights. It's a lot different playing in arenas with 10,000 or 20,000 people in them than it is empty high school gyms. But in championship caliber games like this, you get more of a sense of it.
And that one a little bit off the mark from Ryan. quickly in transition. Now Nixon, as Ryan went down awkwardly, grabbing that right ankle. And that is not what you want to see if you are a Milton fan or even a fan of this game in general. He's going to walk it off, at least for now, but certainly the last player that Milton wants to see with any type of injury.
Yeah, and he's doing the right thing now. He's relacing his shoe and tying it extra tight, trying to prevent that swelling from coming up.
And you got to believe these guys do not want to miss any moment of the action here. Championship game, tons of scouts and friends and family on hand.
Well, more importantly, it's the last game of these seniors. You know, it's the last game of their high school careers, win or lose for both of these teams. And that goes from Cormac Ryan and everybody on Milton to Jayden Dumas and everyone on Choate. All the seniors, that is.
So a miss from Sandifer, who's had his struggles a little bit at the line so far today. Second one is good, though, brings his team within 2 with 4 minutes to go. First half action here at the Murray Center. Robert Skinner now in to handle point duties for Milton. Swings it over for Beesmer into the corner. Now inside Ryan, showing no ill effects of that ankle problem he had moments ago, able to finish in close.
Well, I like that decision because he settled for some tough shots from downtown, but he's got that tremendous size, so his ability to play over top of smaller guards is really effective.
And Choate trying to go low once again to Sandifer, but that pass a little too low on the inside.
Yeah, they play off of Sandifer so much, not necessarily because he's a big-time post scorer, but because they run their offense out of the block. They'll get lots of ball movement and player movement as they'll cut hard. Choate is a very good cutting team.
Here's Shockley for 3, and that one is good. 7-point lead now for the Mustangs.
Well, I'll tell you what, as I mentioned earlier, I saw them play on Wednesday. This is a totally different Cam Shockley player than the one I saw in the quarterfinal.
Trying to step up the defense as well. Dumas looking to answer, won't go. Good rebound by Nixon. Cannot finish, though, from close range. And nearly tied up underneath was Beesmer, but was able to outmuscle Sandifer. Ryan stepping on the line as he came down with that pass. It'll go right back over to Choate.
Very important here for Choate to have a good offensive possession. Don't want to give Milton the opportunity to extend that lead going into halftime. The first and last 2 minutes of every half, so important in terms of establishing momentum of a game.
And nearly turned over, but regaining possession was Sullivan.
He got hit.
3 ball,
yep.
No good, but Brad Landry will be heading to the line shooting 3. As the foul should be charged to Skinner.
That is a costly mistake. You never want to foul a three-point shooter.
First one is good for Landry. Again, the senior out of Wallingford, Connecticut. Be heading out to the University of St. Joseph's and Jim Calhoun's new program.
Landry's a shot maker. He's had some games this year with 7, 8 threes in a single game. He's got that high release that allows him to make tough shots. So not the guy you want to allow to get his rhythm established at the free throw line.
Misses on the 3rd. So he remains at 5 points on the day.
Shockley was wide open. They missed him. Love to see Ryan drive this ball. He's settled for some tough ones here.
Hold up the dribble, working against Sandifer. They get it to the corner where Shockley is promptly double teamed. Trapped, but able to get it off the rear end of Jayden Dumas.
Now this is a tough situation here in the dead corner with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. See what Milton has in the playbook.
It's like Ryan's going to be the inbounder this time. Flips it well outside. Here's Beesmer for 3. Won't go. And the rebound in the hands of Nixon.
Nixon will look to attack if he has a lane.
Inside they go, right back to their bread and butter. Sandifer gets his man up in the air. Second time Milton's fallen for that pump fake. This time it was James Quinlivan.
Well, and it's what has happened the 2 times that Milton has gone to the bench. And again, we talked about it. They played 24 hours ago, so have to be able to manage minutes. and you want your best players to be fresh in the second half, but Choate has been able to take advantage of Milton's second unit on the inside.
Sandifer, though, struggles at the line, continue. It's probably hovering around 50% on the day. It's checking in now, Drew Theobald for Milton.
Milton's already gone about 10 deep so far in this game. We talked about it, how the depth advantage lies in their favor. Choate not played as many bodies, nor would you expect them to.
Another chance goes by the wayside for Choate. 2 misses from Sandifer at the line. Lead stays at 5 for Milton. Beesmer, Shockley, and now around for Simmons. Good cut to the hoop, but unable to finish was Beesmer. Second opportunity not there that time for Simmons. And here comes Landry and company. Landry down the lane, off the glass, and just won't drop in.
Choate just not getting the breaks right now. Free throws and layups rolling in and out. Loose balls finding their way into Milton's hands.
The defense there out of Sandifer to nearly cause the turnover. Checking back in now for the Mustangs, Thomas Burkhardt, as Beesmer heads back to the bench.
You want to get your senior point guard on the floor here. Be as reliable as you can with the ball. Choate now picking up full court man-to-man, even if it's a soft man-to-man.
Approaching just over a minute left, and I think there was an issue with the shot clock. And that's what they're going to talk over. It's set at 17, which obviously he didn't cross.
Yeah, but that wasn't 13 seconds.
No,
so
that's why I think there should have been a reset. As the officials continue to talk things over, though, but the minute 9 left here, a lead at 5. There have been about 3 or 4 lead changes throughout this game.
Been a good game, very competitive. Give credit to both teams. Both teams playing relatively well. A little bit of nerves in terms of the decision making, but both sides executing relatively well, certainly competing and making shots.
Shot clock winding down. 3-pointer again for Cormac Ryan.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say he's got to stop settling, but when you can make those shots, those are skills that are transferable, because those are the types of tough shots he's going to see next year in the Pac-12, and that pushes the lead to 8.
20 points now for Ryan to lead all scorers, and the push-off doesn't get much more obvious than that. Jayden Nixon, the big push-off, but Ryan going down awkwardly again. Second time here in this half. He's going to try to walk it off, and you talk about guts and toughness. That's on display right now.
Well, I think they bumped knees that time, so hopefully something that he can just walk off.
About a 5-second differential now. Shot clock and the game clock as the first half winds down. Sandifer able to keep it alive, rolls it to himself, goes up.
Wow.
And they're going to say a goaltending violation on Cormac Ryan, but what a job by him to get back and alter that shot.
Well, a big-time defensive play from Sandifer there, not just to come up with the deflection, but then to save it from going out of bounds. Get another look at it here. Watch the block. Okay, now it can't remember, it's high school rules, so that was good call as it already came off the glass.
Final 14 seconds, Shockley has Ryan to his right. As that pass rejected by Nixon.
Notice the fight and the grit of this Choate team. That's a reflection of the way in which they've been coached. And truth be told, that's a reflection of both teams. Both teams very much.
Yeah, you often see these teams take on the personalities of their coaches, as Ryan now launches another 3, won't go. Final 2 seconds. And Ryan breaking up the play at center court. Takes us into the half with Milton enjoying a 5-point advantage thanks to 20 points from Cormac Ryan. An outstanding first half for that young man.
Well, he dropped 20, and I tell you what, I think he can still play a lot better. That's the scary part. Some of his decision makings, obviously I think he's a little banged up, but can make some better decisions. I thought that last shot was reflective of that, but he is a talent, no denying that.
Yeah, certainly has shown all kinds of range. As a break in the action now for the half. We'll be back with first half highlights and some more analysis for you right here on YurView.
Maddie always she gave it her hardest, and what she wanted everyone else to do was to give it their hardest.
She always put everyone before herself in every situation.
Her personality, it's just she was born to be a leader.
She lit up every single room when she walked in it, and she just had so much love for everyone in her life.
I think she'd want us to live in the day, and she'd want us to take it one day at a time.
YurView celebrates Women's History Month, honoring Mary Maskell. Mary Maskell founded the Women's History Museum of California, one of few museums in the nation focusing on women's contributions in both history and the arts.
She started by collecting historical artifacts, books, clothing, anything that could also be used really as a teaching tool. Mary's aim in starting this organization was to bridge that gap for both students and for adults who didn't have the opportunity to learn as much as they could have about women in history and about their really remarkable contributions.
With exhibits that feature the female spirit, honor the trailblazers, and explore the women's movement, the mission of the museum is to inspire the future by preserving the past.
Our aim is to make sure that we are preserving as many women's stories as possible so that they're available for future generations.
Proudly brought to you by YurView.
And we welcome you back inside the Murray Center here in Providence. We are at the half where Milton Academy has built a 37-32 lead over Choate Rosemary Hall in this Class A championship game. Mike Mancuso alongside Adam Finkelstein. And Adam, really the main story had to be Milton's Cormac Ryan. Outstanding, 20 points, doing it both on the outside with long threes and on the inside as well.
Well, I think he could go inside even a little bit more, but it was certainly a good sign for Milton to show his willingness to go inside and post those smaller guards. He's got a tremendous ability to make shots and make tough shots at that from the perimeter, but in a game like this, he's got the potential to be even more versatile. So I look at it as he's got 20 points, and you still have more basketball potentially to come from him, and I mean that as a compliment. I mean, I think it's tremendous when a guy has that much talent to score 20 points and a half, and you say, you know what, he could still play a lot better.
Yeah, seems to have maybe that other level that he can get to. So time to take a look at some of the highlights from the first half. We'll see how we got to this 37-31 advantage.
Well, Choate is a team that is very much going to beat you by committee. They're going to move the ball. You see Jayden Dumas being the beneficiary there with that late three. Milton executing some offense of their own, but this is really what it came down to for Milton. They had big-time players who stepped up and made big-time shots. Shockley came out, did it early and often, and then Jayden Nixon for Choate. Choate's ability to create offense from their defense and that three-quarter court pressure I thought they utilized was very effective as well.
And certainly depth could become an issue for both sides. We've seen Milton be able to go a little bit deeper on the bench as we had another look at a brilliant feed and finish there from Shockley. But you know, it'll be interesting to see how does Choate respond. They have not gone as deep on the bench there, and can they match up body for body down the stretch?
Well, Choate's going to keep fighting. They've done that all season long. I mean, this is a team that, as I've said, has become more than the sum of their individual parts. They're gritty, they're tough, they share the ball. They're really a throwback in terms of they don't care much who gets the individual credit. I think it's a matter of you know they're going to continue to fight. Milton can't afford to have any letdowns because Choate's going to be ready to take advantage of any opportunity they're presented with.
So time for us to step aside one more time. We'll be back with more from here at the half. You're watching the NEPSAC Class A championship game on YurView.
Maddie always she gave it her hardest, and what she wanted everyone else to do was to give it their hardest.
She always put everyone before herself in every situation.
Her personality, it's just she was born to be a leader.
She lit up every single room when she walked in it, and she just had so much love for everyone in her life.
I think she'd want us to live in the day, and she'd want us to take it one day at a time.
YurView celebrates Women's History Month, spotlighting the Women's March. Since 2017, millions of women around the globe have marched to bring awareness to a range of important issues.
Women are affected in every marginalized community, every aspect of our society. The most important thing is that people recognize women's rights are human rights.
The Women's March has attracted a diverse group of women, all committed to creating social change.
And these movements allowed a lot of women who wouldn't have spoken up to speak up for the first time and know that they have this voice of a million women behind them, helping them to speak up.
A key goal of the Women's March is to encourage all women to vote.
So it's important for us to now have our voices heard, and voting is the basic way to do it. People are getting a sense of being stronger together. I think in the long run we'll see those effects making a difference in everyone's lives.
This celebration of Women's History Month is proudly brought to you by YurView.
NHL Center Ice makes being away feel like home. Amazing! With up to 40 out-of-market games a week, every goal, save, and hit. Oh my word! Gives you the home ice advantage. Paired with NHL Network, you won't get frozen out. Let the game live where you do. Order NHL Center Ice for the lowest price of the season.
Call 855-568-5497 to order NHL Center Ice for 2 payments of $27.49.
With Cox high-speed internet, you get access to super-fast in-home Wi-Fi to power all your devices and do the things you love online. And now, when you're traveling, you have free access to the nation's largest Wi-Fi network with over 500,000 hotspots, so you can stay connected in places such as New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Phoenix, and many more. Learn how with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
Get brand new movies at the touch of a button with Movies on Demand from Cox. Daddy! These two dads have co-parenting on lockdown. But when their dads show up, it's more daddies, more problems.
Cut like butter!
Isn't that a... Cut down cell phone tower.
Don't go to the light!
Daddy's Home 2, rated PG-13. Watch what you want, when you want, with Movies on Demand from Cox.
In the blink of an eye, cities fall, heroes rise. A heartbeat skips as a man slips gravity's grip, and heartbreak leaps from the brink in a blink. Just think of all the games, teams, hopes, and dreams that live and die because greatness lies in the blink of an eye. This is the sports app on Contour from Cox. Cable TV reimagined to get you right to the good stuff.
And welcome back to the Murray Center here on the campus of Rhode Island College. About 45 seconds away from the start of the second half of the NEPSAC Class A championship game. Mike Mancuso alongside Adam Finkelstein. And Adam, one thing we haven't really talked about at all yet is the new podcast on YurView, the Upside Podcast. For all you basketball junkies out there, you're obviously tuned in here, but another source of some fantastic conversations and some really good insight with some very famous names in basketball.
You know, it's been fun because I essentially just, the guys at YurView have given me some free reign to talk to people from all levels of the game, and anytime there's someone who I'm interested in learning from or talking to, I've been able to do that. So people from Tom Crean to Jim Calhoun, been phenomenal to have coaches like that, and then some of my ESPN colleagues from Paul Biancardi to Mike Schmitz and Jeff Borzello. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out. That's the Upside Podcast. You can find it on Apple, iTunes, and where mostly all other podcasts are available as well. Good stuff there from Adam and company. But back to this one now. 16 minutes on the clock for the second half. What do you think the message was in the Choate locker room on how to respond to this 5-point deficit?
Stay the course. And I think, for Choate is trying to play mistake-free basketball and give themselves a chance down the stretch. They don't want to get caught up in that one-on-one stuff. They have to make this a total team-oriented effort and continue to be unselfish and gritty on every possession.
So Milton, perhaps under 16 minutes away now from the championship title. They will be moving from left to right across your screen here in the second half. Early foul on Jayden Nixon. We have the first personal of the half on either team, and the second one on Nixon for the game. He's got a little too aggressive on the defensive end.
Yeah, and one of the interesting subplots for Milton is going to be the amount of minutes you have for Schleckman, who you see here with the ball, as well as Carter, 12 in the blue. I think if we were charting plus minus, you would have seen that those guys had some very good minutes in the first half, and if their legs were able to be fresh here in the second, I think that really takes away Choate's ability to score in the paint when those two guys are on the floor.
Good ball movement that time led to a attempt for Rhett Carter, unable to finish, but did draw the personal against Jalen Sandifer for his second personal of the day.
And to put it in perspective, Rhett Carter is about 6'9". You see, even though he missed that free throw, he's got a good touch. Daniel Schleckman, 6'8", Cam Shockley, 6'7", Cormac Ryan, 6'4", 6'5". So, I mean, that's a ton of size across the lineup.
Another miss lands in the hands, though, of Choate's Jake Sullivan. And here come the Wild Boars, trailing by 6.
Again, the post touch is just part of the way they run their offense.
Landry backs it out, now has Dumas. Skip pass over to the near side for Sullivan. Dumas picked up the dribble, nearly got himself in some trouble, down to 10 on the shot clock. Inside they go for Sandifer, and you could probably hear that slap. Sandifer will be heading to the line once again, but has had his struggles there this afternoon.
Well, Burkhardt didn't really have much choice, had to take away that layup. Again, that's the type of offense that we've come to expect from Choate, where they're not willing, they don't care who gets the shot. They're just going to share the ball and attack the defense, see what presents itself.
Now here's where Choate just can't really afford to be giving up these freebies any longer. As Sandifer comes through with the first of his 2 attempts. Sandifer now up to 12 points, was really a force to be reckoned with early on the post area.
Anytime at a level like this you can get a dual sport athlete who can really contribute, it is such a luxury.
Fortunately, though, still hovering around that 50% range from the line today. A lot of points left out there for Choate. And inside Milton goes. Little spin move that time from Schleckman, and nowhere to go but into the hands of Landry. Quickly the other way. Dumas now pulls up, long range Jay. Good.
Tough shot. Dumas knocked it down there. Jake Sullivan with some great post defense. Jake Sullivan is a guy who's, contributes in ways that don't always show up in the stat sheet. He had that great backdoor pass with his left hand in the first half. Tremendous post defense there, even though he's given up about 4 inches in that matchup.
Long range 3 once again, won't go for Ryan, but another rebound for Carter. Ryan a miss, and back the other way now, Jayden Nixon. Sandifer walking that tightrope on the baseline, has Dumas drawing the contact, and I'm sure they're going to get it before the shot. Either way, it's going to be charged to Daniel Schleckman.
Dumas been very effective trailing the break there. He can come down, knock down the 3 trailing, can also facilitate and make decisions because he's a smart player, very good passer too.
Dumas lost the handle on the way in and stealing it away with Schleckman. Ryan now, nice feed. And a good take on the inside by Thomas Burkhardt.
Yeah, tough finish from Burkhardt there. Led with his body, absorbed the contact, was able to hold off Landry and finish with his left.
Lead back up to 5 now for Milton. Sandifer, the kick out for Dumas. Nothing but net. Another 3-point basket brings his team within 2.
Yeah, and again, they use that post, not necessarily to score, but to facilitate. So you got to stay at home on those shooters if you're Milton's defense.
Cross-court pass, and flying right into our view here was Ryan. Kept it alive, but right into the hands of Nixon.
And the hustle play is going to get it back from Milton. That's the type of play that a senior leader makes. Not necessarily about draining 25-footers off your back foot, but about saving loose balls and earning extra possessions.
Ryan will survey the scene, call out the next play. Trying to extend what is now a 2-point lead. And they had a comfortable win yesterday over Belmont Hill in the semis, and that doesn't get much easier than that for Cameron Shockley.
Well, The second time in a row that Milton has gotten a layup off that slice action they run. Happened in the first half as well.
Dumas again losing the handle. Schlackman should get credit for the steal. And Shockley, a long pass. Carter now able to convert off the glass.
The big fella with the poise, using his body, wedging out some room to operate, and then timing his jump at just the right time.
You could almost feel the momentum shifting here. Milton up by 6. Time for us to step aside. We'll be back with more of the Class A championship game right here on YurView.
Maddie always she gave it her hardest, and what she wanted everyone else to do was to give it their hardest.
She always put everyone before herself in every situation.
Her personality, it's just she was born to be a leader.
She lit up every single room when she walked in it, and she just had so much love for everyone in her life.
I think she'd want us to live in the day, and she'd want us to take it one day at a time.
.47 left here in the second half. Mike Mancuso alongside Adam Finkelstein as we bring you coverage of the NEPSAC Class A championship game here on YurView. And Milton Academy starting to pull away just a touch and seemingly having all the momentum in their favor right now.
Well, Choate cut it to 2, and Milton has responded with a 4-0 run to push it back to 6. And this is about the margin that the lead has kind of hovered around for the majority of this game. Anywhere from about 4 to 8 is Milton really been unable to pull away, and Choate refusing to give an inch.
And Ryan, who finished the first half with 20 points for Milton, has yet to score here in the second half. Milton also doing much more damage on the inside than they are on the perimeter as they did in the first half. Tied up on the way in was Nixon, and the possession arrow will keep the ball with the Wild Boars.
Well, a terrific defensive play for Milton, but I want to make this point because Jake Sullivan is right-handed. That's the second time he's laid down a beautiful left-handed backdoor pass.
Choate able to get it over for Sullivan. Now back outside for Dumas. Sandifer trying to back down his man off the glass, too strong. Second attempt will not drop.
But notice how he's able to get to point-blank range. As soon as Carter and Schlackman come out of the game, Sandiford all of a sudden becomes the physical aggressor and is able to get himself right in the front of the rim.
Quinlivan nearly had it stripped away, able to get it over to Beesmer. And Coach Reddick's able to go to the bench. And an offensive foul that time on Burkhardt. A little bit too out of control down the lane.
Yeah, he certainly was. Put his head down, tried to bully his way out to that right hand, but just had nowhere to go.
Second foul on Burkhardt. Checking back in now for Choate. Hunter Jamison, junior out of Durham, Connecticut.
Jayden Nixon gonna get a quick blow for the Boars.
Sullivan leaves it out for Dumas. Thought about 3. And now almost airmails it over Landry. Did all he could to keep it in. And Choate very fortunate to keep possession as it was last touched by Burkhardt.
Good defensive pressure from Milton. Milton's really ramped it up defensively here in the second half. You know, you asked earlier what they talked about at halftime. I think that was obviously the message from Lamar Reddick's. Not interested in winning a shootout, wants to get back to playing Milton basketball, and that's a defensive-oriented mission.
Sandifer taking out behind the play by Quinlivan. Oh, and there's the big swipe of the arm from Burkhardt. And you could feel his frustration kind of boiling over here over the last couple of minutes. 3 fouls in the first couple of minutes in this second half.
But that was a really important possession because the lead is at 6 right now. Milton had a chance to push it to 8 or 9 there. Choate in transition defense got 4 bodies back and 2 different deflections before they were able to draw that charge.
So Searman checks in now for Milton, and in for Choate comes Elliott Sawyer Kaplan, a senior out of New Haven, Connecticut. He's going to give Landry a little bit of a break.
And I think what you're seeing right now from Drew Dawson, just trying to buy his guys a couple of minutes so they can be as fresh as possible for the stretch run here.
Pull-up jumper off the mark from Sullivan. And coming down with it that time was Quinlivan. Searman working against Sawyer Kaplan. Curling around was Ryan, who's been relatively quiet.
This is a ball he should drive. He's got a mismatch prop.
Instead, he pulls up for another three-point attempt, and then it leads to an over-the-back call on Milton's Quinlivan, his third personal. But you're right, that time it did not seem that Cormac Ryan was.
Well, you get that switch, and you got Caden Dumas on you, who's a front court player. They're about the same size, but he's a front court player. He does not have the same foot speed. That's a ball you've got to drive and put some pressure on the opposing defense.
The lead, which has been at 6 now for about a minute or so of game time. Milton's had multiple chances to extend. Choate's had multiple chances to cut into it. Here's Landry, who just checked back in. His three ball won't go, but a foul underneath. See who it goes against. And I think they're going to get Milton's Alec Beesmer.
He's flabbergasted.
Well, honestly, I thought it was going to be on Hunter Jamison as those two were getting tangled underneath the basket.
Oh, and Lamar Reddick is just not really interested in his antics at the moment. You know, you got 2-possession game, less than 11 minutes left in the New England final. You don't want a guy who's trying to show up a referee. Tough shot.
Very tough indeed, but won't drop for Landry. And off the shot clock, we'll go over to Milton. Inbounding duties fall to Drew Theobald.
Choate's going to extend their pressure. They had success with this 1-2-2 in the first half. They're going to go back to it here in the second.
Ryan, a little cross-court pass for Searman. Now gets it back to Ryan as they continue to play catch. Step back three won't fall for Theobald. And again, another chance to extend that lead goes by the wayside for Milton. Dumas nearly able to cut the lead in half. His three ball won't go, and Ryan there for the rebound.
Well, Choate's got to take better advantage of this opportunity. They've had a couple of bad shots. Not that Milton hasn't, but both teams right now just kind of chucking when they should be working for better looks.
Well, time the miss from Ryan leads to chance on the other end for Dumas. Little finger roll, and that one rolls in. 4-point game.
That's the craftiness and efficiency he has on the perimeter. That doesn't have to be the longest or the quickest guy, but very efficient with just one bounce going through the lane.
Out from the wing now, Shockley trying to penetrate. And we're going to have a bump as he made his way down the baseline. Still waiting for them to put up the foul on the board, but either way, it's against Choate.
Still just a 4-point game.
Inside for Ryan. Double teamed right away, able to get it to the outside. Theobald. A little handoff now for Searman. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Ryan now. Little no-look pass for Shockley. Three-pointer on the way, no good. And another rebound for Brad Landry. Quickly ahead, Sullivan pulls it back now for Nixon. Jumper is good with Ryan in his face.
2 good offensive possessions in a row from Choate, and all of a sudden it's a 2-point game again. Milton's going to go back to their slice action, which has gotten them a couple layups.
Choate fighting all the way down from being down 7 or 8 points in this half. We have a timeout called by Milton as things getting a little bit too helter-skelter. We're going to step aside as well. You're watching the NEPSAC Class A Championship game right here on YurView.
Slamming it down! A 3 for the game!
You want more of that? We got you. Half season, half price.
Wow. What a finish.
Get access to all the teams.
We gotta see
Oh,
it.
you just want to watch your team. No sweat.
It's all about us, yo.
Anytime, anywhere. It's that easy. To order NBA League Pass, call 844-371-3529.
Center in Providence. Things get a little bit tight here in the NEPSAC Class A Championship game. Milton holding on to a 2-point lead. They led by 6 at the break, but here nearly midway through the second half, that lead down to just 2 points and a couple of momentum swings already here in the second half.
Well, it's been a very different type of half than the first, when both teams came out making shots and the points were going on the board freely and quickly. In the second half, it's been more of a grind, and I think that's going to favor Choate, believe it or not. Milton has struggled to score the ball.
Rhett Carter literally backing down his man Dumas and gets called for the travel. He's wondering how that could be, as he thought he had the dribble alive. I thought he could have been called for an offensive foul.
Well, I thought it was a good no call. I thought that was the right call, to be honest. I mean, I think that I think that it was a flop and wasn't rewarded appropriately. But then what happened is Carter looked down and ended up shuffling his feet in the process.
So now a chance for Choate to tie or take the lead on this possession. They have not led since earlier in the first half. Here's Landry for 3, and that one rims out all the way to Cormac Ryan, who's yet to score here in the second half after putting up a 20 spot in the first.
He's also yet to attempt a 2-point field goal in the second half.
Settling for those outside shots. He had a lot of success, 5 3-pointers in the first half. Shockley down the lane and got the friendly roll that time.
Well, Ryan was used as a decoy there, was coming through an elevator screen on the weak side of the floor. That took away the weak side defense. Shockley makes a play, body control and touch.
Quick ball movement here and penetration from Nixon as he's able to draw some contact with Ryan. Take another look here at Shockley. Elevating, kind of floating in the lane and able to drop it in.
And the balance was the most impressive part of that. That's what I mean by the body control, to be able to have the balance to maintain that soft touch.
Look there at Drew Dawson, watching his guy Nixon at the line, and won't fall. Again, a lot of missed free throws for Choate so far today.
It just stays between 2 and 6. You know, in the first half it seemed like it was 4 and 8, but
Shockley the miss, quickly the other way. Nixon right down the lane, and a timely little arm movement from Thomas Burkhardt to knock the ball free.
And a save by Cormac Ryan. That's a big swing.
Well, this could be bigger. 3 ball on the way, but short.
You're right, that would have been big.
Schlackman had an opportunity to really help his club out. Left it just a little short.
Good slip by Dumas.
Sandifer bouncing off of defenders. Gets it to go and one for the 6'5", 190-pound senior.
Well, if the Yale football team plays pickup, he's going to be one of the first picks taken, because this guy can play.
Take another look at that last move.
A little pro hop there, just that subtle change in direction and then going through contact, hip to hip, and he absorbed it.
Sandifer, chance for the 3-point play. And
you're going to pick on him for missing the free throw, aren't you?
Not this time.
He airballed it, I mean.
But again, you know, in a 2-point game, unofficially by my count, I have Choate with about 7 or 8 missed free throws.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of little things that just come back to bite you, especially in a championship game.
Those are things, you know what, though, the thing about that is you forget, not you personally, but people forget, these guys are 17, 18, maybe 19 years old, and again, it's the energy of this moment, and it's a lot easier to make free throws when you're in the gym by yourself than it is in this atmosphere.
Well, and especially look at this Choate side. I mean, that does not go too deep on the bench. And, you know, fatigue, I think a little bit of a factor. We've seen some short shots here. And, you know, they did play less than 24 hours ago, a very intense semifinal game. And having to come back with some travel, not easy for anybody at any age.
No, certainly not.
So Choate, another opportunity now to tie or take the lead. Sandifer on the inside.
We got a tie game. Jake Sullivan again. Big time passer in the front court.
Sandifer up to 16 points now for Choate to lead all Wild Boars in scoring. And a pick there, but stepping out of bounds, Nixon.
Milton needs to get something going to the rim. Watch this Jake Sullivan pass from a possession ago, but right now Choate is able to extend their defense because Milton hasn't made them pay.
Well, Milton's only scored 8 points here in the second half.
Pretty.
Good feed and good finish. Rhett Carter able to do some damage.
Yeah, slipping that screen, setting the screen for Cormac Ryan. Both Choate defenders are worried about him. Carter made a pretty slip right to the rim.
Ill-advised pass that time from Sullivan. In transition, Shockley, a little pump fake and off the window.
Another 4-0 run from Milton. Every time Choate has cut it to 2 or tied it up, Milton has responded with back-to-back buckets in the second half.
So tough to always be chasing the game. You always wonder how much the team will have left in the tank. Landry's shot won't fall. Ryan the rebound.
And it's a bad shot. It's a shot. It's not that he can't make it. It's that that's not the type of possession that Choate has been working for all game long.
Landry, though, able to slow down Milton's counterattack. Deflecting it right into the Milton bench. Checking in now will be Hunter Jamison. We'll give Nixon a little bit of a break.
And I think it'll be a very little break here because you got 5.5 left. Can rest tomorrow.
No real foul trouble for either side. Burkhardt. Ryan wanting that
he's got to drive that ball. Drive the closeout.
Well, that time tried to drive, but maybe a little too late. 3 hands on it. And Sullivan back on the other end will be heading to the line, shooting 2.
Well, it was a good play by Schlackman to hustle back in and take away the layup. And impressive strength from Sullivan just to get that ball on the rim.
Here's another look at that transition play. Landry leading the charge.
Good pass by Landry.
Yeah, Shockley all over Sullivan that time. First one is pure. It's the lead down to 3 now for Milton. Dawson working the substitution game, about to get Nixon back in. Second one is good as well. So once again, a 2-point game.
Let's see if Milton responds here.
So with Nixon back in, Sullivan will check out. Burkhardt stared down by Landry as he works it up the floor. Burkhardt had it go off his toe. Sanderford has it go off his foot. And Ryan now trying to cross over past and forces up a wild shot. And Carter's going to get called for the offensive foul, lowering the shoulder into Jamison. And again, Choate going to the bench, bringing in Dumas. Timeout called. With Milton leading this one by 2, we're going to keep it here this time, under 5 minutes to play. And Milton really struggling from the field here in the second half. Just 12 points up to this point, and has basically seen their entire lead evaporate.
Well, you can almost feel the nerves starting to grow for Milton in this one as Choate. They still trail by 2, but it certainly seems like they have the momentum and the confidence right now. Milton starting to force things a little bit offensively, starting to complain about calls a little bit more. All signs of increased tension here as we go down the stretch.
And we certainly have seen some of the players kind of acting out in frustration. Players, Rhett Carter on the inside a couple of times, Burkhardt after he picked up the 3rd personal. And now at this point in the second half, we've seen Drew Dawson go to the bench more than he did by far in the first half.
But they've been quick. I mean, he's gotten all of his guys quick breaks here, but all of them have been less than a minute off the game clock. So it's get them out, let them catch their breath, get some water, but don't allow their bodies to cool down. So I think he's done a nice job of managing minutes. Really, both coaches have managed minutes throughout.
And with the new guys rotating in and out, they haven't really lost a beat either. You haven't really noticed it too much.
Well, again, this isn't a team that relies on the dynamic skills of their individual players. They rely on the continuity of the group. And so when you do that, you can play as a unit more, and you can absorb the loss of 1 or 2 guys for a short stretch at a time.
Again, Choate finding themselves down by 2. Here's Landry. 3 for the lead, no good. Nixon taps it over to Sanderford. Shot no good, 2nd attempt no good, 3rd attempt no good. And finally a foul too many extra chances, though, if you're Milton.
No, no doubt about that. A couple of missed opportunities there for Choate as the Nixon and Sandiford going to the glass. Watch this. Nixon keeps it alive. Sandiford misses 1, 2 bunnies. Then Nixon can't get the tip in. So 4 offensive rebounds in 1 possession. And again, notice who's not in the game for Milton. Schlackman and Carter on the bench, and they become immediately more vulnerable inside.
A 1-point game now after the made free throw from Jayden Nixon. Chance to tie. That one is good. Choate not going anywhere. And a kick ball that time on Sandiford as he outstretched his leg to deflect that pass. Ryan now breaks the press easily. Morrell.
Can't stop there. Yep, can't stop there.
Got himself in a heap of trouble that time. The double team right on the sideline as Morrell put himself in no man's land. Nearly led to a turnover, but Milton able to get timeout to talk things over once again. So a tie game now, completely different complexion than what we had earlier in this half, when at times it looked like Milton was about to just get past that 6 to 8 point threshold on their lead, but every time Choate striking back with a big hoop.
Yeah, Milton's a little tight right now, and I think the closer this gets, as you get a look at Jim Calhoun, but the closer this gets, the more confident. Well, it can't get any closer, so the later this gets, if it maintains this close, the more confident you're going to see Choate get.
And as you mentioned, so many people wanting to see how these guys can handle this type of pressure. It doesn't really get much more pressure at this level than this right now.
And
Skinner.
Choate's going to deny Cormac Ryan the ball. There you see it.
And what an athletic play by Jalen Sandiford. Came up with the steal, found himself jumping out of bounds, and had the presence to deflect it off of Ryan for the turnover.
And again, a high-level athlete who's face guarding Ryan, not allowing him catches. Be a great time for him to get a back cut. He hasn't been able to get on the scoring column here, in large part because he's settled for tough threes. An opportunity to get an easy 2 if he'll move without the basketball a little bit.
Landry now, the kick out over for Sullivan. Nixon. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Under 4 minutes to play. Sullivan runs into trouble. From the outside, Nixon can't get it to go. Burkhardt, a big time rebound. He'll lead the charge immediately. Right to the rim and in.
Coast to coast, rebound it in traffic, take it down the other end, giving Milton the lead back.
What a play by Thomas Burkhardt, one of the captains of this Milton team. 3.5 to go. Landry looking for Sandiford. He's owned that area today. Nixon fumbled it for a moment, but got it back. Who's going to cave to the pressure? Who's going to step up? Dumas lost a handle and turned it over.
Just lost it. You have to have a purpose for your dribble. Not sure where he was going there.
So 2 possessions in a row. Choate coming up empty, and Milton now a chance to further extend their lead. Thumbs down the play, called by Burkhardt. Ryan checks 2, still looking for his first points of the second half. Fired up a wild 3. Had a brilliant first half, pouring in 20 points, but ice cold here in the second half. And now Choate will call timeout to talk things over. Under 3 minutes to play. And we wondered if Ryan was going to be able to find that next level and step up even more in the second half. So far, some maybe ill-advised shots.
Yeah, well, he's settling. You wonder about a couple of things. One, you wonder if he's a little banged up in the first half, and then I think the impact of fatigue on him is starting to show. His stroke is a little more flat than we've seen in the past. Doesn't have the same arc as it did in the first half. And he's also having to exert a lot of energy on the defensive end of the floor guarding Nixon. And so it's been, to me, he's got all kinds of opportunities to attack closeouts, but he's been reluctant to do that so far here in the second half.
And hasn't really taken advantage of some of the mismatches that have appeared in front of him in this second half. But still wouldn't sleep on him quite yet.
No, he's a great, listen, here's the thing. He's a great player, far and away the most talented guy on this floor. He's going to be very good for Stanford. This is all part of the learning cycle. You know, again, these guys are 18 years old. He's never played in a championship game like this before. It's just a part of his development.
Sandifer sealed off nicely that time by Schlackman. Landry for three, got it! Brad Landry, a huge three-pointer to give Choate the lead.
Choate's first lead since opening minutes of the game.
Now how will Milton respond? Facing some adversity here down the stretch, under 2.5 to go. Shockley, as they rotated around the perimeter. Burkhardt looked to almost have been tied up that time by Sullivan, but they're going to get Sullivan for the reach.
Choate still has another foul to give before they put Milton on the free throw line.
So fresh 30 seconds. Burkhardt, the inbounding duties, has Shockley wide open, look for three. In and out. Ryan the rebound. Gets his first points in the second half. He's got 22.
And see if that gets him going a little bit. Easy two.
1 point ball game. Into the corner for Sandifer, trying to get to the paint. Dumas for three. Boom!
He wanted that one, no hesitation.
Another big-time three-point basket for Choate. Landry and then Dumas. Sandifer and Ryan getting tangled up. And they're going to get Sandifer for the foul. You see some emotion out of the Choate players.
Now the next foul for Choate will put Milton to the free throw line. So Choate with a 2-point advantage here.
Shockley gets it in for Burkhardt. Trying to cross over Landry, pulled up his dribble. Still able to find Shockley, nearly traveled. Jump step in the lane, the second chance.
What a game. Big time play by Cam Shockley, showing the length in the second jump to tip in his own miss.
Landry inside now, Sandifer, who had it poked away from behind. As Carter almost came over the back that time. Still 18 seconds on the shot clock. It'll be Landry with inbounding duties this time. .120 left here in the second half, all knotted up at 55. Landry had a big three-pointer about a minute or two ago. Wild shot, no good. Big rebound, Nixon fighting his way in, off the glass, no good. Second chance, no good, but he'll head to the line. Shooting two, a lot of contact in the middle.
Well, I think, again, the theme is the collective grit of this Choate team as they just continue to fight. And that was just Jayden Nixon utilizing his athleticism, but more than anything else, just wanting that ball more.
So now the pressure ramped up even more for Jayden Nixon. First free throw. Won't go in. Thought for a moment there you're going to get one of those rare super high bounces.
Yeah, that was a lot of rim.
A lively bounce off the rim that time. Now Nixon for the lead. That one, nothing but net. A 1 point game once again. Ryan, who was the man in the first half. A quiet two here in the second. Shockley, Schlackman now. Ryan trying to get free. Matched up against Nixon.
Still trying to hunt his jumper. Didn't want to attack the rim. See, that's not a good shot.
Pull up three, no good. Long rebound and some contact underneath. And I think they're going to get Jake Sullivan for the foul. And that will put Milton at the line. A 1-on-1 opportunity coming up. It's going to be Daniel Schlackman at the line. The chance to tie and perhaps take the lead back.
What a swing call, though. I mean, Milton does not get the possession they want. Instead, on the blockout, sends Choate to the free throw line. That is a huge call.
First one is good, and now Schlackman for the lead.
Credit to junior big man, his composure. That one's short.
You could tell right away. Big rebound as going down awkwardly was Nixon, and to make matters worse, trickled out of bounds. So the ball will go back to Milton, and Nixon writhing in agony on the floor after landing awkwardly while attempting to go for that rebound.
Well, you hate to see this because for either team, you know, played so hard all half. You get another look at it here. Watch Nixon. Oh, yeah, the right leg just gives out from under him.
Kind of just slipped out the heel as he came down on the floor there as they now wipe it up. But Nixon, a big part of this comeback for Choate, as they were able to fight back from down 6 at the half. They trailed by as many as, I want to say, 8 or 9 over the course of this game.
Well, and here's the thing. Your heart goes out to Nixon here. He's played so hard, and you hate to see anybody injured like this. But now both coaches are in a point where who's going to respond quicker to this? Because it's a tie game in the championship game with 43 seconds left.
And again, even worse for Choate. It looks like they will be without the services of Nixon, at least for the short term here, and perhaps the rest of the game. And then also, they had the rebound and turned it over.
Yeah, I think he bumped into his teammate that time, unfortunately, and that's a shame. Is he's just not able to put any weight on that leg at all.
So now the Mustangs a chance to take the lead. They're all knotted up at 56.
It's, again, a huge swing for Milton.
Burkhardt gets it in for Ryan. Throws it to the cameraman, though, and that'll be a turnover on Milton. So, oh, how quickly things could change. Ryan, the turnover. And now Choate an opportunity. There's about a 10-second differential, game clock and shot clock, so they can't hold for the final shot. Extended defensive pressure, Shockley out to meet, and they're going to call timeout.
They're going to talk it over.
See what Coach Drew Dawson can cook up coming out of the timeout. Full timeout on the floor, but we will keep it here. 34 ticks left. But for Choate, a big loss in the form of Jayden Nixon, injured, colliding with his own teammate going for a rebound.
Yeah, just wasn't able to land on that right leg coming down. You hate to see it. He's played so hard tonight.
Obviously a couple of options here for Choate. Landry, who's had a good second half. Obviously DeMoss as well, a big three-pointer down the stretch.
Those are the two guys to me, because those are the two guys that not only are your seniors, are your captains, but those two guys are fearless. And so in a moment like this, you need a guy who wants the shot. You know, normal shooting percentages, I don't want to say you throw them out the window, but you need a guy who wants to take the shot here. And I don't expect either one of those guys to be able to go in isolation mode. That's not their game. But I think what you'll probably see Coach Dawson do is draw something up where one of those two, where the ball is going in the direction of one of those two guys, maybe with Jake Sullivan as the ball handler.
Do you think at any point they maybe try to get inside the Sandifer, have him kick it out?
Yeah, they could certainly play off the post. That's been a consistent staple of what they've done. It looks like they're going to go ball screen here.
Sandifer now, little handoff. Nope, he's going to fake the handoff. Takes it
yeah.
inside and gets hit by two Milton players. And Sandifer, who's been at the line a lot today.
So it was a pick and pop ball screen that led, they were emptying one side of the floor out for a dribble handoff action as Sandiford was dribbling at Dumas. They were essentially betting on Milton, anticipating what I was saying is that Dumas was going to be the guy, and Sandiford faked the handoff, went right to the rim.
First one from Sandifer is good. Making it when it counts the most. We are under 25 seconds left. Rhett Carter checks back in, replacing Quinlivan. And now the bigger shot here for Sandifer. Free throw is perfect.
Huge free throws there.
Now all the pressure on Milton. Burkhardt works it up against Landry, under 20 seconds, and Coach Lamar Reddix is going to call a timeout and draw something up for his squad. Now, obviously, Cormac Ryan having a little bit quieter second half, but is he
Well,
still the go-to guy here in the clutch?
You know, probably. But I think that you've got to think about putting the ball in Shockley's hands as well. I think, you know, Ryan's decision-making here in the second half, and again, you don't know if he's banged up or what, but just been so reluctant to get inside the lane. And anytime he's come off a ball screen, Choate has been trapping him or hard hedging and holding, and really just that's taking advantage of his unwillingness to go inside of the lane. So it'll be interesting to see what Milton does here, if they put it back in his hands or if they give it to Cam Shockley.
And now keep in mind, Jayden Nixon sidelined with an injury late here in the second half, so you don't have him on the defensive end to potentially match up against Ryan. Perhaps we'll see him going against Sandifer. Milton has also had some success with Rhett Carter on the inside.
Well, no matter what they do here, they're going to try and give themselves enough time for an offensive rebound putback.
Shockley gets it into the backcourt for Burkhardt. 15 seconds left. Shockley curling up top, now Carter, and almost sailing past Schlackman. Shockley, turnaround shot, no good. Rebound, Dumas, and he's promptly fouled by Shockley with 3.7 seconds left.
Ran their normal slice action, got Shockley a good touch. Pass was just a little late, so it turned what would have been a layup into a tough contested two. Dumas has an opportunity to ice the game here if he can make both.
Another look at that last shot from Shockley, and that shot definitely altered from the side by Jake Sullivan. Now some big free throws coming up for Jayden Dumas. Almost a little too casual that time.
Yeah, again, the nerves, you could see him on his heels kind of backpedaling on that first one. I would bet on that not happening again, though. See, we held that better.
Much smoother stroke, and now timeout called once again by Milton. And now we have seen them show a lot of range from beyond the arc here this afternoon, particularly in the first half. Hasn't really been here in the second half for them, but 3.7 seconds, still definitely enough time to work it up the floor.
Well, it is, but here's a couple things to keep in mind. One, Choate has 17 fouls, so it means that they can foul and not allow Milton the opportunity to take a game-tying three and instead elect to put them on the free throw line for a 1-and-1. Statistically speaking, that is the higher percentage play. But what I will tell you from past experience is that at this level, with the human element of asking high school kids to be able to execute something like that, that's a much harder decision in this situation than it would be in a college game or an NBA game or something like that.
Now, if you were coaching here today, would you specifically tell your guys to foul right now before they even have any chance of getting the ball up?
Only if we had practiced it before. So I think if you're going to foul, you want to foul early so you take away any risk of committing a shooting foul.
So here it is, final 3.7 seconds. They get it into Ryan. Ryan across center court, heaves it up, and that one misses. Choate takes down Milton and claims the 2018 NEPSAC Class A championship title. A jubilant side for head coach Drew Dawson. An absolutely fantastic finish here in Providence, and if that's an indication of what we're going to have here throughout the rest of the day for the Class AA and AAA titles, we're in for some good basketball.
Well, I tell you what, it was a gutsy effort from Choate, not only all game long, all season long. This is a team that has been better than the sum of their individual parts, trailed for most of this game, and just did not go away. The unselfishness and grit that they played with was the reason why they're the champions.
Again, you've talked about it quite a bit today, but that just overall team feeling. They didn't just rely on one or two guys.
Oh yeah, very much
as
so.
a team. And
this is a team that on paper, you get another look at it here, and see again, two defenders surrounding Ryan, not allowing him to get over half court. It was on line, you give him credit, but this is a Choate team that on paper, might not have even been a playoff team in some people's eyes. And they have overachieved all season long because they play together. They share the ball, and they are very, very tough.
Quite the finish here at the Murray Center. Choate taking down Milton. Final score of 59-56 to claim the NEPSAC Class A title. Milton seemed to have it in control. And we're going to step aside for just a few moments. When we return, Adam Finkelstein will be standing by with head coach Drew Dawson and the MVP.
YurView celebrates Women's History Month, remembering Kate Sessions. An early trailblazer, Sessions was one of the first women to graduate from UC Berkeley in 1881.
Kate Sessions was a pioneering and experimental horticulturalist who is credited with transforming the entire look of San Diego and Southern California by the plants that she introduced and popularized.
An outspoken advocate for San Diego's public spaces, she became known as the mother of Balboa Park, planting more than 1,000 trees in the park, gathered from all over the world.
She changed the look of the park and all of Southern California through her work.
Today, millions of visitors enjoy the beauty of Balboa Park, created by the vision and hard work of Kate Sessions.
I think Kate Sessions would be delighted to see the outcome of some of her experimental planting.
Proudly brought to you by YurView.
Family time starts anytime with Disney Family Movies on demand.
Magic plays here.
This month, we've got Champions on Ice with the original Mighty Ducks.
Let's fly! Yeah!
Plus, the fish out of water fantasy, Splash, along with a shaggy dog, a silly old bear, and a high-flying hero.
Go get him, kid.
Check out our Facebook page for all the latest info about Disney Family Movies.
Get the magic of Disney for one low monthly price with On Demand from Cox.
Jeanette, you know how during our date, we couldn't remember the name of that show we both liked. We're Cox customers. We can find it on Contour. Last 9 viewed. My grandkids are here. Home improvement shows. More like this. We liked House Hunters. That's the name of it.
Grandpa, you have a girlfriend?
We're not using labels.
That's a yes.
Watch more, search less, because you're a Cox customer. Cox.com/learn.
And welcome back to the Murray Center, where Choate has just taken down Milton to claim the NEPSAC Class A title here in Providence. A fantastic game. We're going to send it over to Adam Finkelstein, who's standing by with our player of the game, Jaylen Sandifer, and head coach, Drew Dawson.
All right, Jaylen Sandifer, head coach Drew Dawson. Now, you're a football player?
Yes, sir.
But,
yes, sir.
So this is the last basketball game you will ever play, if I'm not mistaken, although James Jones, the Yale basketball coach, might know your name sooner than later. But tell me about this, what it means to you.
It's incredible just to come to Choate for a PG year and have a short period of time just to bond with the guys and be able to get this win. It's just remarkable. It's indescribable right now.
Well, congratulations. Good for you. Tremendous game today. We're going to bring in Coach. You can bring that back and celebrate with your teammates. Great job today. So, Drew, tell me about the season, because I said it on the broadcast. You guys were a team that some people didn't think were going to be in the postseason, but you've been overachieving all season long. You're a team that doesn't seem to care about who gets the credit. You play hard. You were gritty is the word I kept using, just so tough. Tell me about your kids and the effort this season.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I had 4 hair follicles coming into this game. They're all gone. So they're all gone. So listen, you and I have known each other a long time. And the beauty about this level, right, is, you just pointed out about Jaylen being a football player. It sort of takes a village at this level, and you have to piece it together from different sports, from across the campus community. And the big thing about these guys is it was a team that showed up this fall, and we just jumped a mile deep. And everything you just pointed out, the kids rallied around each other. They bought into what we were doing. This team has great grit. This team, the fact that you gave a football player an MVP award, obviously we have some talented basketball players, but the thing that these kids really did is they dove a mile deep, and they were gritty as all get out. So,
well, that was awesome. Congratulations. Go celebrate with your kid.
Thanks, Adam. Take care.
All right, Mike, back to you.
And thank you, Adam. That was Adam with a very happy head coach, Drew Dawson, and player of the game, Jaylen Sandifer, as Choate takes down Milton 59-56 to claim the NEPSAC Class A championship title. So the first of 3 games here today from the Murray Center. Next up, it'll be Tilton and St. Andrews in the Class AA title game. That one coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern time from here in Providence. So I'm Mike Mancuso saying so long for now. For my broadcast partner, Adam Finkelstein, we hope you could join us in about 20 minutes or so right here on YurView.
Hey there, entertainment lovers.